So we'll start off now with really the big picture, an overview of the development process. This is a really simplified slide, but I want to talk about kind of where that preliminary pre-development feasibility analysis that I talked about fits within the larger scheme of development. So for congregations who are discerning whether their land might be a candidate for the development of supportive or affordable housing, this overview is important because it provides a general sense of all of the stages that need to happen before you can imagine having tenants move in. So we're going to really focus on the first stage today, and well, let's say the first three or so. So this first stage is discernment, initial feasibility, and conceptualization. So at this stage, a congregation wants to be focusing on clarifying mission and call, confirming congregational capacity, and really assessing site suitability. And that's where the preliminary pre-development feasibility analysis comes in. So we're providing these studies through this grant with the Crankstart Foundation, and really that information comes at the beginning of this process. It provides a green light, red light, go, no go analysis. So DCG will take a look at your property and we will let you know whether it's really worth investing additional congregational resources, which, as we know, are so hard to come by, in this property, and whether it's a good candidate for development. Once you've made that initial determination, the next step, and really all of these steps should be happening concurrently, is team building and stakeholder engagement. So here we want to think about, where does your community sit within its parish? And when I say parish, I mean that in kind of the historical sense. What communities does your community care for in its vicinity? What are the key groups or vulnerable folks that you're looking to serve in developing this affordable or supportive housing model? And who are the partners that can help you do that? It's important as well to consider city officials as part of that team and really understand, what resources do you have as a congregation, what needs do you have as a congregation, and making sure that those ministry needs are part of that consideration. The next step really is kind of a deeper dive, so a feasibility study and entering into a partnership with a developer. So I talked about this preliminary study. At this point, at this third part of the phase, you would be conducting a pre-development feasibility study. This includes some technical studies that position the congregation to step into what we really want to call a marriage with a developer partner. So this developer is the entity that's going to be taking on a financial risk in terms of for the entire project. It's going to be your partner for the execution of your vision. One thing we really like to recommend that congregations consider is securing what we call an owner representative for that congregation. And so as part of that, it's making sure that the congregation's ministry priorities are represented in any sort of development that eventually ends up taking place. So an owner representative would be the one that is reaching back into the congregation, understanding the congregation's priorities, understanding the congregation's gifts, but then also protecting that congregation in its relationship with the developer to ensure that the development is crafted in such a way that the congregation's ministry is protected and its vision is advanced. Finally, we have what we're calling the design and planning phase. This is really led by your developer partner, which is why it's so important to find that good fit. Included in this phase is an architectural design, deeper engineering and environmental impact studies, and a sort of formal planning review processes. All of this then leads, of course, to once you find funding, which should be there in that column prominently, you would begin construction, leasing, and then prior to this as well, we want to think about setting up an operational structure and perhaps a nonprofit entity that's going to make decisions on behalf of this new development, but that's very linked to the congregation. And here too, I think we want to think about how will we know whether this development is a success? And we need to think about what metrics we're going to use to know whether we've been successful or not in achieving our vision. So thank you.